I
Recording
think
in
that can be a
progress.
valid and also a strategic approach to address these societal issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Shabango.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and greetings, Mr. Shandu. The next question will be on the NYDA mandate. Whatever answer that you give us, you must please provide this panel with the practical examples of your answers. In your own assessment, do you think that the NYDA is delivering its mandate? If your answer is yes, why and how? If your answer is no, what are the shortcomings? And what then the examples that will give us will be the practical examples as I've explained. I'm sure my answer is clear. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think I tried to grab your question, but more especially when we talk about the mandate, it is not easy, Honorable Member, to respond to that question on the basis that there are various factors that contribute to measure the effectiveness of the NYDA Board in terms of implementing or achieving the mandate of their policy, of their strategies. In this regard, I believe that they work against their key performance areas, what is that they want to achieve. However, we have to recognize the factor within our society to see if is it equivalent to what they want to achieve. To bring a practical example to that, it will be that of the mandate to achieve provision at least of funding for entrepreneurs within our communities. You will find out that the NYDA, they do reach their target goal to say we want to reach 300 young entrepreneurs within our communities. So as a result, they have been able to achieve that KPI. That means they are effectively operating. But we have to understand the magnitude, the number of youth that we have within our communities, which I can define as to say that it increases on a daily basis, because we have the transition from youth from age from 15 to 18, that one which in a position to complete their matric and also to enter at the university level. On the other hand, we have the youth that is already at the university from 18 at least to 21, that is going to seek for employment and also be in the position of being entrepreneurs by themselves. Then therefore, we cannot say that the NYDA is failing to achieve their goal on the basis that we're experiencing a regular change in terms of the statistics of youth unemployment within our country due to the change of status from high school to university. And also that's why we also have what we call its graduate unemployment rate, which is increases on a daily basis as well. And we also see the increase in terms of youth unemployment. But the NYDA is there, right? But they do achieve their targeted goals, right? Therefore, from my own perspective, I can say that they do achieve their mandate effectively. However, I will raise that concern to say, but in the society, it is not visible. But we cannot witness it due to the frustration that the unemployment rate increases on a daily basis. Then therefore, it is for this reason that in order to make their work visible, in order to be able for us to measure if they do achieve their targeted goals, I think they have now to come back now to the implementation of the NYDA structures at the local government level, more especially at the macro level stage, whereby we'll see the progress being made in the individual members of the community across the local municipalities. It can move on to the macro level, whereby we see that the status of these local municipalities in terms of achieving the mandate of the NYDA, and also move on to province and the national government. I think in that contemplate having this representative at the local level will be confidently saying that the mandate of the NYDA is being achieved. But currently, since it seems as the state problem or as the state entity, it is not easy to measure its impact in terms of addressing societal issues, more especially affecting our youth in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Jasmine Peterson.
Thank you so much, Chair. Greetings to yourself, Mr. Mbata. I'm Jasmine Peterson and I'm a member of this committee. My question to you is, with respect to giving effect to the mandate of the agency, the NYDA Act and the National Youth Policy further highlight the principles that must be upheld to ensure youth development. What do you think can be done to change the negative perception amongst young people about the NYDA? Thank you.
What can I do to change the perception? Can I tend to agree to say, to disagree with you when you say it's the negative perception of the NYDA in terms of youth development, but can we embrace NYDA as a pillar that is making a significant stride in terms of addressing the societal issues that we are facing as a government agency? And then from there, I think what we need to do, as I have already highlighted, we really not need to say it is failing to address these issues. I think we have to talk about how we can intensify its strategies to reach out the most of our communities, to reach out the better of the youth in our community, more especially those from the previously disadvantaged group. Because if we can judge it to say it is failing, but where else it operates, more particularly at the national level, it won't be fair, because at the national level, it might achieve the desired outcomes. And I believe that it does achieve the desired outcomes on the basis that their report, it says that they meet their own target. So meeting your own target, that means you are achieving your goal. There is nothing wrong with your operation. But I think we have to put into context now the debate that how we can involve most of the youth into participating in the NYDA, in achieving the NYDA mandate. I think that's what we have to work around. But in that regard, as I've already, I think your question has been partially covered when I was addressing the earlier question, on the basis that our strategy and also our involvement, I think in this regard, we have the issue of youth being unable to access information. I think that is the primary problem, even for myself, if I can reflect it in that way. Then therefore it invites us now to expand the NYDA mandate, to expand, to come up with strategies that will invite youth from these communities to participate, to be active, to engage with the NYDA. That means we have to strengthen our social media approach. We have to adjust with the industrialization. We have to adjust with the concept of globalization, to let the NYDA engage directly with these communities through social media platforms, to ensure that we educate these people from the rural-based institution to understand the importance of accessing information from the NYDA social media platforms, and also their website primarily, if you can put it in that way. So by doing so now, there will be no youth left behind in terms of accessing information. Then therefore, even those who have skills, even those who have talent, even those who intend to start their own businesses, they will be able to access such information. They will be able to know how to utilize such information. I think it's a matter of coming with those community campaigns to say, how do we involve the youth to take in the mandate, in achieving the mandate of the NYDA, more than to say the NYDA is struggling to address the issues faced by our youth in our communities. And then we can only achieve that through the approaches that I have highlighted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata. Dr. Leklape.
Good morning, Dr. Mbata, and welcome. My name is Khosi Leklape. I'm an additional member on the committee. Now, effective governance in the public service encourages better decision-making and the efficient use of resources. How would you ensure good governance in the NYDA if you are recommended for the appointment to the board?
Well, thank you very much, honorable member. I think well, the topic around good governance, it comes with various principles. It has to touch to the issues of transparency. It has to touch the issues of accountability. It has to deal also with how do we ensure the fairness, and also how are we being responsible, which I believe that with that cornerstone being highlighted more especially for the public sector and also for the agent like the NYDA, it becomes very important now to revisit our approaches in terms of ensuring good governance. I think with that contemplate, I did spend most of my time trying to understand how they approach the issues facing our youth in our communities, and also the good governance is there. I think we do achieve that goal effectively. However, I think the problem is that as much as we are trying, more especially in the aspect of ensuring accountability, we do a number of accountability programs, more especially in environment like this one. There is no strategy that we have to ensure accountability, more especially at the community level, which I believe that we have to revise that one, to have those branches whereby the dissemination of information will reach out to the communities, whereby the information that we discuss or that we produce through our reports can reach to the communities at the community level. I think then therefore that calls us to broaden our definition of how we understand governance, and also more especially for accountability. We cannot account amongst each others and also rely only on the online media pages to disseminate or to account to our people. I think it calls now that we have to sit up as a board and also discuss the ways to which we can reach out to the communities, to which we can be able to reach the community leaders to account on what we have achieved. And also, the accountability has to be based on what we have achieved. Therefore, with these previously disadvantaged communities partially being represented, or most of the issues we are struggling to address, the more especially the informal settlement and also the rural communities, well, they are not being affected about how we account as the NYDA. But however, they will only understand the concept of accountability on the basis that we are making a significant impact in their lives as well. And also that calls for transparency, to say our operations and also how we undertake our activities, it really reach out with these communities. It really reach out, or it touches the young people within the society. Then therefore, that means we are being transparent. They understand all our projects that we come up with. They understand the processes that we follow in terms, more especially in terms of funding those entrepreneurship programs, in terms of coming up with the bursaries that seeks to emancipate youth to achieve their skills development, and also to understand any operational matters that we are doing as a board member. Then therefore, I think I can only invite that we expand our operation, we make it transparent to our community, and we invite these communities to understand our mandate and also our scope of operation. That will make it easy now if we say that we have achieved this target, we have achieved this goal, on the basis that these people will be the part and parcel of our strategic planning meetings, and also of our implementation planning meetings, and also of our project planning meetings that we are having. Then therefore, that makes it easier now for them to understand what good governance is, what transparency is, and what
Thank you, Dr.
accountability is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Honorable Mabel.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, Mr. Mbata. I'm Honorable Kwekane, a member of this portfolio committee. I will just go straight to the question, Mr. Mbata. What are the 5 main principles of good governance within the context of a democratic government and efficient public service? 2, what would you do to enhance NYDA to conform to the principles of good governance?
Oh, I didn't capture the second question. Can you please repeat?
The second question, what would you do to enhance the NYDA to conform to the principles of good governance? Do you understand the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, the principles of good governance. My understanding in that regard is what I've already reflected into. The good governance must be transparent. The good governance must be accountable, and the good governance must treat its citizen with fairness, and it must also ensure that through the principle of responsibility. So I believe that those are the basic principles that contribute more especially to good governance. Therefore, taking into consideration that one, I think I've also already alluded in that one, that as a board member, I will invite the colleagues as well to say that on the scope of the NYDA and also the activities that are expected to undertake, how are we going to ensure that we ensure our transparency? By then, they can only achieve that through the means of inviting the youth to understand more especially what is the mandate of the NYDA, what is that the NYDA is advocating for, more especially when we talk about these issues which are affecting our youth. I think that will be the transparency. It will be in public information to make sure that that information is available for you, for them to be able to make choices that will contribute in our common goal of achieving the economic development and also in terms of creating employment through job opportunities. So those are the pillars, or those are the principles that I can interpret of transparency. And then it will make it easier for us to account to these people on the basis that they will have this sufficient information in their platforms and also in their disposal. And also it will be fair to that extent to say that they feel as members now of the NYDA themselves, because this is promoting what we call inclusiveness or including of these communities in decision making, and also in when we plan the community activities or initiatives that seeks to address the issues that are facing within their community. And when as well also it will come to address the common goal of ensuring how we are responsible as board members, but not only amongst us, and also to ensure the responsibility amongst these people, where they will be able to determine and also to understand the role that they have to play in terms of achieving the mandate of the NYDA. So I think the question is differently framed, but it seeks to achieve the common goal with the one that was asked by the previous speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Sotetsi.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to our candidate. My name is Tiamo Sotetsi, a member of this committee. Now, considering the current labor market situation in the country, what can you recommend to ensure that public and private institutions prioritize employment of young people, both skilled and unskilled, with the aim to reduce unemployment? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Major. I think our labor market is of a great concern. But I think firstly, we have to recognize the significant stride being played by the government in terms of ensuring that we achieve the common goal of youth empowerment in our societies. I mean, there are initiatives such as your CITAS, which seeks to advocate for skills development within our society. I mean, there is a significant role of government funding students to enter universities with an intention to intensify and also to grow their skills, and also to understand what does that the market expect from them. I mean, there is a lot that has been done in that regard. But I think that the gist of the matter, or the great concern, Honorable Member, is on the fact that not everyone who have access in that information I mean, I'm the one who's advocating for the inclusion of young people in such programs, more especially in terms of skill development, where one has to visit institutions to give career guidance to youth, to motivate them to apply for universities, to motivate them to apply for various bursaries that are being offered by the private sector, by the way, and also by the government. I think the efforts are there, but I think the mechanism now to effectively implement them is a problem within our society. I think that's what we have to revisit, Honorable Member, to say that if we can commit ourselves, all of us, to spend most of the time engaging with these people from previously disadvantaged communities, those who does not have access in such information, I think we have to expand our wing in that manner to say that the private institutions, I mean, they do provide employment opportunity, they do provide funding for these kids to enhance their skills development. I mean, there is a lot that has been done. There is a lot being produced by the public, by the government himself. But then it's the approach now, how we can ensure that even the marginalized, they do benefit from these programs. I think that's what it's an awareness more than anything to reach out with these communities and also to come up with the NYDA programs that will say we are doing school visits to motivate youth, we are doing community-based workshop to motivate youth to understand what is that we want to achieve, and also with the information that we are producing within our research centers as a board as well, our reports to ensure that they reach out with this youth. I think we must revitalize those mechanisms, the communication platforms, and also making assurance that we reach out with each and every individual within our society, especially the youth, so that they will understand our desired goal, what is that we want to achieve. Because really our goal is not to operate at the national level, but our goal is to reach out with the grassroots of the problems within our communities. I think that's what we want to revisit, Honorable Member, more than to come up with excuses to say we are not achieving our goal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Spies.
Good morning, Dr. Mbata. Dr. Mbata, at times, there are sometimes interferences in the administrative process, and sometimes that causes instability when it comes to the public service. And the National Development Plan actually highlighted the need to deal with or address political interference in the administration. Now, in your own opinion, what would you say causes political interference in the administration, and how can these causes be eliminated? And if you could kindly also provide us with practical examples in this regard. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable Member. Political interference, I think we have to start to reflect on that. I think perceptionally we have an idea that the political system itself, it bears or it is based on disagreeing in terms of achieving the desired outcome. I think we have to eliminate that narrative firstly, to say we have to recognize the political formation not really as oppositions or not really as interfering when we want to address the community issues, more especially affecting youth. But I think we have to come to the reality that these are one of the civic societies that have a similar goal to achieve development, to achieve youth empowerment in our communities. So with that being said, I believe that we as the politicians themselves as well, they have to stop to look out for problems when we are handling issues of service delivery, but they have to be in the position to say that we are taking service delivery to communities. Then, therefore, I think what we have to do, we have to come up with a binding policy or act to say that each and every political formation has to present its mandate into how they want to achieve the youth empowerment goal, into how they want to involve youth in economic development, more especially the participation of youth in that process, how that is going to help us. This is going to help us to ensure that each and every political formation, they will have a responsibility to report the extent to which they have addressed the issues faced by our youth in community, rather than to come in public platforms to engage or to disagree, to say that a certain particular role players that is responsible for addressing societal issues at that moment is failing. Then therefore they will be binded as well to say that we as this certain political formation, we have achieved this goal by doing 1 and 2 and 3. Then therefore that will shift the terminology to say it political interference, but it will call for the measure for political correctness and also for what we call the freedom of speech, to say that as much as we are failing, Tina, we have been able to achieve the goal for youth empowerment by doing 1, 2, and 3. But at the current state where we have the parallel, we have the principle of democracy that we want to achieve with the existing political will that exists within it, it makes it very hard for government to achieve that desired goal. It makes it very hard for the community to see the extent to which the government have been maneuvered in terms of addressing the issues that we are facing within the community, because the political formations are there to look out for the problems being made by the currently leadership, rather than to interfere themselves or to put themselves in the same position to say it is my responsibility as well to address the issue of unemployment or issues faced by our youth in our society. So I think that's the stance that we have to take, to make sure that each and every civic society organization, each and every political formation has the mandate, and the mandate will be to include youth participation in economic activities, is to ensure that they have programs that seeks to address issues faced by youth in our society. I think that the desired approach that will help us to achieve our broader mandate of NYDA. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Kanyile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to you, Dr. Mbata. I'm Angel Kanyile. I'm a member of this portfolio committee. Dr. Mbata, can you please tell us the main challenges in addressing youth substance abuse in South Africa? And as a potential NYDA board member, in your opinion, how can government, in particular the NYDA and society, better support youth in avoiding substance abuse? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I think that one is a major concern, substance abuse amongst youth. But when I think we all know that the contributing factor in this regard, most particularly, is the issue of unemployment that we have within our country. We cannot run away from that. I mean, the issue of unemployment is visible in our communities, whereby most of the families are being led by young people. Some of the families are led by individual parents, and some are female-headed household. And then in that regard, now there is no guidance, the parental guidance, to say we are trying to teach our kids into how they can shape their lives. I think that have contributed to an extent that we experience the failure of the female-headed household, the one member-headed household, or the families that are being headed by youth, being compromised, to say that they are failing to provide guidance to the youth, and to that extent, most of them, they are failing to have access to basic facilities or to basic needs. Then therefore it pushed away now the youth to start to try a different means of living, and most of the youth, to find out that they don't have teachings from the background or from their home. Then therefore they find themselves being introduced in the use of drugs, the substance abuse, more especially, being the great concern. Then therefore it comes in the form of, we want to experience the lifestyle, but it comes from the sufferings, to say that we don't have someone who providing for us at home. Therefore, let us shift the focus. Let me move to live in the street. Maybe I will find better life. Then when they get there, it's where they are being exposed now in this substance abuse. Then therefore, I believe that now, as the NYDA board, I think we have to give, especially particularly, it's one of the core areas that the NYDA focuses into, to say we want to prioritize these families being headed by female, being headed by young people, to ensure that we provide support to them, because that will contribute primarily to provide teachings and also to provide the social work aspect to these kids, so that they will understand the importance of feeling as the member of the society, rather than feeling as being neglected on the basis that they do not have their parents, on the basis that they have this huge responsibility to carry the families and also to provide for these families. I think in that aspect, the NYDA is in a good approach. However, I believe that as an NYDA member, I think we still need an extensive research, not to speculate, to make speculations to say that the issue is of a female-headed household. But I once did a study on the issue of homelessness and the rise of people who lives in street, more especially in South Africa. I think these are some of the findings to say that the contributor to the increase of substance abuse within our country is the issue of that they are not representative back at home. And to some extent, the youth, they have joined this substance abuse on the basis of the lifestyle they want to explore more. Therefore, it calls now the members of the NYDA Board to interfere in that regard, to have a proper research, and also it will allow for proper recommendations into saying how we can go about to address these issues. Then, therefore, it invites the board members now to have its independent research and development office, which will advocate or which will engage in these critical issues. And also it will be one of those pillars that will help us to invite the studies being researched around the issue of substance abuse, the increased homelessness, and the issues of youth within our country. And also will focus on the recommendation being made by these scholars, being made by these research centers who engage directly with the community to address these societal issues. I think if we can have that element or that aspect, we'll be able to achieve our commitment to ensure youth empowerment and also our economic emancipation as a country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Lonzi.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Maybe I must just confirm, Mr. Mbata, if you can hear me, because I know technological issues can always be there. Am I audible on your side?
Yes.
All right. No, thank you very much. My name is Sihle Lonzi, Member of Parliament and the Portfolio Committee deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters. I've only got one question for you. What do you think about the public perception when it comes to the National Youth Development Agency? Do you think that young people have confidence, particularly when it comes to the process of appointment, as we have seen over the years, that people who are typically aligned to the current governing party, particularly its youth league, and that's the perception that is there in society. Do you have any comments to that effect, and how that affects the trust that the general youth, competent and qualified youth who are in South Africa have in the processes that come with the appointment of board members of the National Youth Development Agency? And how does that trust deficit affect the NYDA in its ability to do its work? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question, Honorable Member. The public perception, but can I rather than to address that of public perception, but can it be my perception towards this, more especially as a young person as well, on the basis that NYDA, as I articulated earlier on, that it is not mostly visible in some of the societies, and therefore they are part of the public that doesn't understand how does the NYDA operates, and also that does not understand the broader scope of the operations of the NYDA. But to myself as an individual, I believe with the rise of unemployment, Honorable Member, I'm sorry, with the rise of unemployment in our country, more especially the unemployment directed to youth, it does not create confidence to say we recognize or we value the role that is being played by NYDA. Why I'm saying that? It is on the basis that the issue of youth unemployment increases from all aspects. We have the increase in terms of youth unemployment that we are facing. We have increase in terms of graduate unemployment that we are facing. But then now, with the NYDA being there as the public figure or as the public agency to address issues faced by youth, you tend to question what is the role, not only the NYDA, the role of these government entities that are committed in terms of addressing issues faced by youth in our community, right? Then, therefore, that's the perception that we have. With the increase, it says that no, they are not doing a good job. However, as a researcher, I personally understand that there is a lot being done in terms of addressing the issues faced by youth. I cited earlier on the commitment of government through these SETA responsibilities in terms of ensuring skills development and also creating opportunities for youth. But also as a researcher as well, I do understand the significant effort being put forward by the NYDA to advocate for issues faced by the youth in our communities at the parliament level. Then, therefore, it is for this reason that if we want to create the public trust, we have to put the NYDA at public. We have to send NYDA and make sure that we take it to the people. It doesn't have to operate at the national level, or it doesn't have to be recognized at the national level through their website as well, and also through to platforms like this. But we have to have the branches in our local municipalities that would represent NYDA. We have to have branches into our communities, the members that we understand that they advocate for the issues of youth within our communities. These will be people who will work hand in hand with the NYDA. I think that's the vision of the NYDA, to invite the public, the private, and also the community to be part and also to contribute in the commitment to combat the issues faced by our youth within our communities. I think that's the only way we can develop the confidence that we want to achieve with the use of NYDA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata, and thank you very much for availing yourself this morning. Maybe I should just indicate that the Portfolio Committee will still be engaging in further interviews today, whereafter we will next week deliberate on the interviews and candidates, and then prepare a report that will go to the National Assembly, where we will recommend our 10 candidates to serve on the National Youth Development Agency. That report, once it is approved by the National Assembly, will be sent to the President of the Republic, who will ultimately then make the decision in terms of which 7 members will serve on the next NYDA board. But we thank you so much for your time. Dr. Letlape.
I think the chair forgot to give him the opportunity to ask.
To close.
To close, and what he wants to say to us.
Okay. Before I close then, do you want to add anything else at this stage, Dr. Mbata, in closing?
And not really, Chair. But then my contribution will be to recognize the effort, more especially as I see that the NYDA members at the parliament, it comes from various political formations. I can only praise that aspect, and also lob the House to say, can we go back and also revisit our policies in terms of how we can go about achieving the mandate of the NYDA? Can we at least from each and every political formation have a wing that advocates for the youth empowerment through the NYDA scope, or through the NYDA Act, and also through the NYDA strategy? I think that will be of beneficial, more especially for our society, because I believe that our great concern is the fact that the issues faced by youth, they are increasing on a daily basis. Therefore, can I invite all political formations to go back and work around this? I understand that we have our own policies and whatnot, and we advocate for these issues. but the implementation to have the NYDA as a way in our local government can help us achieve the broader mandate of the NYDA. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbata, and thank you, Dr. Klape, for reminding me to give the candidate that closing opportunity. Dr. Mbata, thank you very much for being willing to serve your nation and young people at large. Thank you for interacting with the Portfolio Committee this morning. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee, I wish to thank you for sharing your insights, your ideas, and your passions with us. And as a Portfolio Committee, as I've indicated, over the next 2 weeks, we will complete this process. And of course, we will stay in touch. But thank you very much, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Chair, can I speak? Are we offline?
this side,
They're just facing this way.
Is this your number? I want to see next to the I need protection. Oh, he was fired yesterday. And your guys, I don't know how to do it. It's simple to just No, I said it. No, I said it. You know, it is a water bag. No, when was it? 2008.
No, remember, there was the admissions CPA, a new CPA, and then...
These are the things which are now
the CPA. So they've got to regularize
Why did it go? What my point is a chief talent. You don't even know the department in the mind, but you don't even know
No. Institution is anyway. The finances in terms of how much we invested is him. We inherit the structure. CPA is our structure. The affairs of the land and what happened to the land needs the fund. OCD was excellent.
All right. Let's not open this I can see. I'm worried that I was not there. Including them. Yeah, I'm worried it was I can see. No. It's not here. You know what? Yeah. I was about to ask you, just if you're telling me, give me the actual dates, then you can't tell me that you transfer the land and then you make something that's about remember this thing about this everything was done. It was done. Everything that was done. We were not there. Remember we are successful. You understand? That's why I requested. Every time is private. They are the legal persons. Remember, it was before we introduced encumbrance. Before, because 2008, we could say, but for now, the land was. Yeah! The sequence of events. The conveyance. We are not going to it. Yeah. The conveyance of everything. No, it's there. Everything. It's there.
Because even the space is very small.
No.
Protocol, personality, everybody has to be high.
I think I just would like to make 2 or 3 announcements before we start the next interview. I want to just inform honourable members that one candidate has withdrawn his nomination, or he will no longer be part of the interviews, and that is Mr. Bongani Bengu. Was interviewee 17. He's indicated that he has received a promotion at work and that he feels that considering this promotion which came after he was shortlisted, he will no longer be able to dedicate as much time as he would have wanted to the work of the NYDA. So he has withdrawn his nomination and he will no longer proceed with an interview today. Secondly, honourable members, I want to clarify some issues that I've picked up in the media. There's an allegation that I saw being made to the effect that Parliament didn't do due diligence in terms of checking HR or verifying CVs and doing screenings. And I wanted to make it clear that the verification process of CVs and credit records and all other relevant information started last year already. We have received as a committee from last year up until now various reports. We, for example, got a report from State Security to indicate that none of the candidates that we shortlisted had criminal records. We were informed that 4 candidates had issues with their credit record, and it is true that it was flagged that one candidate had an issue with outstanding fees to the tertiary institution. Those were all the issues. But I want to clarify that at no stage did Parliament enter a process in which they were not prepared. All the HR verifications and the screening processes had been completed. And I wanted to just make that clear as we proceed this morning, just to put it on record. Having said that, good morning, Ms. Numalo. A warm welcome to Parliament. Please do feel very relaxed. This is the People's Parliament, so it's your home. You should feel comfortable. We are the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. I'm here with honourable members from the Portfolio Committee. We will be engaging with you this morning. We will have 40 minutes to engage with you. Each honourable member of the Portfolio Committee will have about 3 minutes to engage with you. They will introduce themselves before they talk to you. And thank you very much for applying to serve on the NYDA, to be considered. Thank you very much for being here this morning, for travelling. And maybe just to start off with, you can tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, why you're passionate about youth development issues, and why you would like to be considered to serve on an NYDA board.
Is it on now? Can you hear me? All right. Thank you very much, Sanbonani. Thank you very much, Chair. I identify myself as a human rights activist. I am a member of the LGBTIQ+ community. I identify as non-binary. My pronouns are they, them. I believe that having someone like myself on the NYDA board is going to be giving a voice of those who often feel marginalized and also not heard in these leadership spaces. I also have a bachelor degree from the University of Cape Town. I have a double major in international relations and political studies. During my time at the University of Cape Town, I've been involved in the Student Representative Council. I was the fundraising officer. In my term, I can successfully tell you that we raised millions of rands to assist students with financial debt, which we all know is a huge crisis and it's ongoing today. I also work for an NGO called the Southern African Liaison Office, where I work as a policy, advocacy, and stakeholder engagement. And some of the work that we've done underneath there is that I have also spearheaded the Hate Crime and Hate Speech Bill, which is now an act. And how I did this is that I worked with various different stakeholders in writing amendments, and one of the very few NGOs who were called back to Parliament to come and give amendments to the bill. And also, I really am passionate about social justice and advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please can I ask Honourable Spies?
Good morning. Nomalo. My name is Eleanor Spies. Welcome and thank you. You have a very impressive CV. Mine is a question pertaining the National Youth Development Agency Act that was established as an Act of Parliament in 2008 and was subsequently amended last year, 2024. And based on that, my question to you would then be, could you briefly elaborate your understanding on the functions of the National Youth Development Agency in terms of the Act?
Thank you very much. So the Act, under its functions and mandates, speaks about ensuring that advocating for policies and programs that are centered around youth development. Under governance and structure, it speaks exactly to this process that we're doing right now, which is a board, which is about providing oversight. It also speaks that even in this oversight, it needs to ensure that youth development policies and programs are in line with the national priorities. And this responds to the presidency and as well as the parliament where we're sitting. And the last is collaboration and stakeholder, which is in the line of the work I do. It's all about ensuring that the private sector, government, civil society, and NGO are all working together to ensure that youth development issues are integrated in society. Second to that, it also needs to ensure that there is young people's representation in society on the socio and economic level. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honourable Spies.
Thank you so much, Chair. Welcome to CCW. My name is Jasmine Peterson and I'm a member of this committee. My question to you today is, the Act provides primarily for the NYDA as a unitary structure, responsible for implementations of youth development programs, including the mainstreaming of youth development activities by all stakeholders. What strategies would you recommend to ensure that the agency effectively implements youth development programs?
Thank you very much for the question. I think, there's a perception of the NYDA mostly out there that says that, or NYDA is basically mostly seen as a body that is giving finances to certain issues, whether it's about entrepreneurship and certain funding. I think one of the strategies I want to bring in is that I really want the NYDA to be a lobby group in the stakeholder collaboration of being the voice of young people, not just only in the governance part of it, but also in the private sector, civil society, and the NGO. And the reason why I say this is because when young people are going to these other parts of society, being it corporate or civil society or NGOs, sometimes they may not get the same ear as them going to the NYDA. So if the NYDA becomes the main source and lobby group of it, it becomes easier to champion issues of youth development. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honourable Kanyile.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Welcome, Busisiwe. I'm Angel Kanyile. I'm a member of this portfolio committee. The question that I have for you is, in your own assessment, do you think the NYDA performs its mandate efficiently? If yes, we'd like you to tell us how so. And if not, please tell us what are the shortcomings and what are you proposing to strengthen them? And if possible, can you please give us the practical examples?
Thank you very much for your question. I'm going to answer it in a bit devil's advocate and say yes and no. I'll start with the no. I think no in terms of, I'm going to give an example of the Western Cape, which is where I reside. So in the Western Cape, the NYDA offices are located primarily here in the CBD. And the problem with that is that young people in the rural areas and who don't live necessarily in the urban areas don't have access to come to the CBD to get assistance from the NYDA. So the solution to that is that there should be satellite offices of the NYDA that are in these townships and rural areas that are working closely with municipal buildings so that all young people are getting access to the NYDA and not just a certain few, so we're leaving no young person behind. Thank you.
Dr. Lehlape.
Now, with respect to the mandate of the agency, the NYDA Act and the National Youth Policy further highlight the principles that must be upheld to ensure youth development. By the way, my name is Procedural and welcome. And I'm a member of the committee. despite the legal framework, in previous years, there had been a perception that the agency only serves certain sections of people. What can be done to change the negative perception amongst young people about the NYDA?
Thank you very much for your question. I think this question leads back to what I just said, specifically about location. That's the first way in which we can change a perception, because we need to be going where young people are. And outside of these, having these satellite offices, we also need to be going into the communities where young people are and giving them services outside of that, outside of just having satellite issues. I think that's also one of the perceptions of the NYDA. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Lonzi.
No, thank you very much, Chair. My name is Sihle Lonzi, member of the Portfolio Committee deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters, and want to thank you, Busi, for availing yourself to serve in this very important institution that must serve all youth in South Africa. And I think what also comforts us is to have young people from non-binary, marginalized groups putting up their hands to participate in this institution. So we want to wish you all the best. I've just got one question. According to the PFMA, and maybe you can give an example using the NYDA. It differentiates between an executive authority, an accounting authority, and an accounting officer. So perhaps tell me, and I think you can answer this in one sentence, in the context of the NYDA, who is the executive authority, who is the accounting authority, and who is the accounting officer? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Thanks, Sihlonzi, for your question. So it would be the CEO, the CFO, and then the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair.